Happy New Year to you and welcome to the first edition of the podcast for 2025. We're talking about what you need to know about 2025, what great sporting events are happening, so you can join in on the conversation all around the world of sports this year. Joining me to talk all about all the things is our resident sports expert, my co-founder, my favorite brother, Scott. Scott, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me on. Happy New Year. A new year, a new opportunity to talk about sports. And that's what we're here to do for 2025.
Very excited about it. So we're going to talk about a lot of things this year. 2025 is more of an average sports year. There's nothing there. We have a couple of events that are huge that don't happen every year, but there's no Olympics. There's no World Cup, anything along those lines. 2026 is that year with the Men's World Cup. It has the Winter Olympics. So there's a lot happening in 2026. So stick around with us for the entire year so you're ready and set up for success in 2026. But this year we do have 3 big events happening that are different. But let's start off with really what we should watch for this year, and that's dynasties in sports. People are dynasty building, they're kingdom building when it comes to it. And I guess we could start off with Chiefs Kingdom.
Yeah, everyone wants to hate dynasties, but that's what kind of brings sports to the forefront when you have someone to either love or hate. It makes people watch. And I think the way the Chiefs season has gone this far, they've had a very interesting season, winning games they probably shouldn't have with very lucky or, advantage plays going on. And they are on the verge of winning the first three-peat in franchise history.
Has anyone ever done that in the NFL period?
I believe, I'm blanking right now, but I think.
Probably not back to back to back.
No, it's not. No, actually, it's never been done. So. Yeah, back-to-back was a shock, and three-peat's nearly impossible, just given the way free agency works and injuries and things like that. So if the Chiefs can pull it off, it's going to be quite the miracle based on the season they're having, but somehow they're still winning.
Yeah, and Travis Kelce is going to retire that way. If he gets a three-peat, I'm sure he'll hang up his cleats at that point.
I'll walk off the stage in New Orleans and go straight to Bourbon Street.
As one would do. Take Taylor Swift and off you go.
Yeah.
Sounds like a security nightmare.
Yes, but it's probably going to be done. So that's one dynasty to keep an eye out for. And then we have, oddly, 2 college basketball dynasties that we're on the verge of. Women's basketball, this year is kind of wide open. There's so many good teams. Dawn Staley down in South Carolina, they're the defending champions. They won in 2024. They won in 2022. And if they can win in 2025, that will certainly put them up there. The Gamecocks in the upper echelon of college basketball dynasties and programs.
I mean, Dawn Staley, we've talked about this before on the podcast. Mm-hmm. Has an excellent shoe game.
She does.
But she has really made quite an impact in South Carolina. And now I'm saying this as a Notre Dame fan, and I do love my Irish women's basketball and the phenomenal things they've been doing. So leave that here. But it's been incredible to see what they've done. And that I still think that the traction with women's college basketball is much more significant than we're seeing in men's basketball.
Yeah, up until this point, I think some of the best games and most viewed games have been women's matchups. So it's still amazing to see. And the men's side is trying to build up big names, but the women still dominate viewership and attendance at this point.
Yeah, and we've talked about this before, but in case you've not heard this, that's because there's different draft rules for the women versus the men. So men have to play 1 year of basically outside of high school, where women have to stay in for their eligibility or till, I'm going to screw this up, 21? They're 21 or 22. I can't remember.
I think it's 22.
I think it's 22. Yeah. Okay. That's what my gut was thinking too. And so they get a chance to build a brand. Men's basketball players leave, and therefore they're not brand building like these women are. So kind of an interesting capacity. And then you talked about a men's team. Who's the men's team we should watch for?
So we have UConn, Connecticut Huskies. They are back-to-back champions on the men's side. They're going for a three-peat, which in this era of transfer portal and NIL would truly be like one of the most impressive things you could ever do, to go back-to-back, lose guys to transfer portal, lose guys to the NBA, and just reload. The season didn't start off necessarily great for them, but down the stretch, I'd pick Danny Hurley over most coaches to get it done.
I mean, it's a true statement. Like Dan Hurley has created quite a I mean, UConn really as a whole for a basketball school, their women's team
Yes.
is phenomenal. They're going to have the number one WNBA draft pick, Paige Beckers, excuse me, Paige Beckers. It's incredible to see what they're doing there at UConn.
Yeah, Storrs, Connecticut is kind of the college basketball epicenter at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. It's fantastic. Now let's dive into a couple of events we have to watch for this year. Now we have a few that are not, they're usually biennial events. And we start with in February on the 8th, which is also Super Bowl Sunday, which we can talk about, but with the Invictus Games. So the Invictus Games were founded by Prince Harry, and it's to support recovery and rehabilitation of international wounded and injured and sick service personnel and veterans through sports. So this is a phenomenal event, super moving. And there's 25 nations, 550 competitors that will be headed to Whistler to compete in the Invictus Games. Right. So they're turning this into like an F1. It's becoming a thing, right? You watch the more we've been following them for quite some time. The websites are getting better. Everything's getting more information. You're seeing this become more of a community building event versus just the actual events. Yes, they're having concerts with Katy Perry, Noah Kahan, and Canadian icon Nelly Furtado, just to name a few, of course.
And we'll have quite a few Paralympic athletes jumping in there as well. There's been quite a few that are veterans that are injured that end up in the Paralympics, going from there to Invictus Games. So it's very inspirational to see.
It really is. Like, if this is one you need to feel good in February, you're having the seasonal affective disorder, where you're depressed by the winter and all the other things. This is something to watch because it's really incredible. And we have some new winter sports involved, but we have alpine skiing and snowboarding, Nordic skiing, biathlon, skeleton and wheelchair curling, indoor rowing, sitting volleyball, swimming, wheelchair rugby, and wheelchair basketball will all take place. So the Paralympics, obviously gave us a whole new light this in 2024 of this game and how much excitement we saw around the Paralympic Games. And you're seeing this. And like I said, I've been following the Invictus Games for a long time. I'm seeing big, huge presenting sponsors come in. Their websites actually have information on them, unlike they have before. So it's been really interesting to just watch this evolve. And as people continue to put the money behind and put the excitement behind these athletes, it's showing.
And that's what they need, support, and to be able to watch them. And that's kind of where things grow, right? If you build it, they will come.
And it's perfect timing when you really think about it. People are going to be coming right off the Super Bowl. Early February is pretty quiet overall, and there's sports happening. Don't get me wrong. It's basketball season. It's hockey season. But it's quieter overall with just anything that's really a big monumental event after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, get over the depression of football season.
Yeah, this will do it for you because you know what? This is pretty incredible and inspiring.
Yes.
Now we're going to go from February. We're going to fast forward through the summer, because we don't really have anything big in the summer this year. We do have the Ryder Cup in Long Island, and that is in September 25th to 28th. The Ryder Cup happens every 2 years. Talk to us about the Ryder Cup.
I mean, this is one of the great tournaments in golf. Everyone looks forward to it. USA versus Europe, depending on if it rotates between the United States and Europe. So depending on where it is, it's a major home field advantage. Home course advantage. USA, we go nuts when it's here. When it's in Europe, they go nuts. There's a lot of trash talk. It's a lot of fun. Last Ryder Cup, we saw a lot of trash talk. Even had some confrontations on the course. So it's something to look forward to. It's golf, but with kind of more rivalries.
Yeah. And so Europe pulled off a win last time in Europe, and I had some friends who went, and it's American flag. Like, everyone's got their gear on. It looks like it's a 4th of July parade, which is really kind of fun. But Europe pulled off that win, and they've actually won 10 of the last 14. They don't hold the overall record, but they've won the last 10 out of 14. So watch out, Americans. Like, let's piece it together and rock and roll.
Pick it up, and we will have LIV players eligible this time, which will be an advantage for Americans. Some of our best players are over there, so having them back will be good. Although there's no direct path for them to automatically make the team, they'll have to be a captain's pick, but at least it will be an option.
So are you saying American golfers are sellouts?
No, not necessarily. I think We just have we have some of the best in the PGA, but we also have some of the best at LIV. So it's deeper for us.
There you go. That's it.
Yes.
Well
Not
done.
not sellouts.
Well done saving that.
And if I can also do sellouts, these tickets ended up selling out at ridiculous pricing, $750 per day, just to go to watch the tournament. So if you're going, you have some serious money, and you got lucky in the lottery because they do a lottery system. Over 500,000 people applied for tickets.
It's crazy.
Which isn't just nuts to think about for a golf tournament. So that'll put in perspective how big this is and how exciting it is.
Well, the location is great. It's at Bethpage, which is right outside of New York City. It's the end of September, which will be perfect weather.
Yes.
I mean, it's all the things lined up that's a tournament you want to go to.
Absolutely.
And so it'll be a lot of fun. Let's see, 2027 will be back in Ireland. Keep an eye on that in September. Obviously, stick with us. We'll fill you in on the Ryder Cup as we get a little bit closer, because
Absolutely,
people are excited about this. There's a lot of excitement happening around golf. And sometimes we don't always cover golf as one of the big main professional sports, baseball, basketball, hockey, and football. But this one carries just a whole different level of Olympic excitement to it.
Absolutely. Pride in your nation, pride in your country.
Absolutely. So now I want to circle back and kind of talk about a couple of events that are going to happen in 2025, but also happen every year. But there's some fun nuances about some of these events coming up. Let's start. Do you want to start with the Super Bowl? We kind of talked a little about the Chiefs, but the Super Bowl is February 9th. Sorry, I lied on talking about the Invictus games. February 9th is the Super Bowl.
Same weekend.
Sorry, same weekend. I got a little confused. February 7th, we will be in New Orleans for a day in the life of an NFL player camp that we do alongside Dr. Jen Welter, who is the first female coach in the NFL. Phenomenal event where women come in and learn all about the world of football from current and former NFL players and other athletes and celebrities. And it's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun. It's very informational. I have people who attended it last year with us in Las Vegas still talk about how much they learned and how much it's applied towards this football season, and really made it much more enjoyable to go to a game or to watch a game, because they kind of have a better idea, and they've gone through drills and tackled dummies and thrown balls. So it's really cool experience.
I mean, Amon Green will be back this year. He's a Green Bay Packers Hall of Famer. If you can learn to be a running back from a Hall of Famer running back, like, that's really cool. And these guys are all great. There's no egos at this event. That is the best part about it. Everyone is phenomenal. Everyone wants everyone to succeed. Athletic ability need not apply. I mean, but think about that. If I could learn to be a running back, I need to just go as a participant at some point.
Yeah, I mean, to learn from Hall of Famers is pretty nice. As a new football fan, yeah.
Yeah. It's really cool.
Most guys are not learning from Hall of Famers in middle school or anything when they start football. So you've got a leg up.
That's true. So if you're listening to this and you are a football mom, rally your other football moms. It's not football season. Okay. All get together, meet us in New Orleans. I'll buy the drinks. We can all go hang out. See, this is good. Yeah, take me up on that.
There you go.
But we can all go hang out and learn about football from experts. So there's my pre-Super Bowl pitch. That's the 7th of Friday.
Yes.
Sunday is Super Bowl Sunday.
Super Bowl Sunday in New Orleans. So that'll be wild. So hopefully people survive Bourbon Street. And
they survived Vegas last year.
Depending on some of these teams' fan bases who make it.
We
got Buffalo, Detroit. I don't know if they'll survive.
It's true. You guys are the Buffalo, you're table jumping. They better, you know what we should do right now? Let's just buy stock in tables and start sending them to New Orleans just in case.
They're going to need extras.
It'll be incredible. But maybe once, like you said, the Chiefs might be there for their three-peat, so you never know. Where do you want to go next? And what do you think, Scott? What's your next one you want to talk about?
We'll talk about maybe jump back to the Australian Open, maybe.
Okay, sorry, we're going to move back. We're going to take this out of order. January 12th, the start of the tennis season. Australian Open, first Grand Slam event of the year.
Yeah, and while we're freezing here in the United States in the middle of winter, it's summer there. It's very hot. It's the first major of the season. And it's kind of, we're going to have some names not there this year, which is kind of going to be sad. The big three, Federer already retired. Nadal has always been hit or miss with injuries, but he's officially retired. So all we've really got left is Novak Djokovic holding it down for the older people.
And he's been injured a lot too. So
He has,
Don't
and
hold your breath. I feel like this is the one out of all four of the majors that, which are Australian Open, Wimbledon, French Open, and the U.S. Open. But I feel like this is the one that if someone's going to drop out, it's this one.
I think it's so hot, and it's to start the season,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
The other ones are warmed up. Their bodies are kind of ready for it. But here, the heat's unreal.
They take
So
I feel like last year they had a couple that were delayed because it was so hot. They have a scale of essentially if it gets to be too hot, they shut down the match.
yes, and then we have to think about the fans too.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's that. And I was just thinking from a fan. Go ahead. Sorry, keep
going back and forth. Go ahead.
No, I was just thinking about, we talk about how this is the one people might miss. It's heat, but it's also the furthest to travel, right? I mean, getting to Australia is a lot more, is a longer just strain on your body than it is going from Paris to London.
Absolutely. So, yeah, it'll be fun to watch. We've got Yannick Sinner on the men's side defending his title. A young man who's also a model with his red hair from Italy, and then Sabalenka, who's been dominant. So it'll be fun to watch.
They're always fun to watch. You've got Coco Gauff. You've got these names that we all now are learning. The Olympics have really given us an insight into these athletes, which has really helped too. Let's quickly talk about, I don't want to forget. I mean, we obviously have March Madness, which Selection Sunday is March 16th, the day before St. Patrick's Day. Partied on. We've already talked about South Carolina and on the women's side, UConn on the men's side happening there. Let's talk a little bit quickly about Major League Baseball opening day on March 28th. The Dodgers are on their way for their own dynasty. Thought that they already didn't have one before.
Yeah, I mean they don't have as many championships in a short span like the other teams we talked about. They won 2024. They've built this amazing roster, basically of all-stars, much to the chagrin of most baseball fans.
Mm-hmm.
They've figured out how to defer money, which means they push money down the road, and that's a later problem. They'll deal with it later. The Ohtani with his huge deal, and they've signed other pitchers, deferred money, so they're setting themselves up to attempt to be a dynasty.
I mean, well, we can talk about multiple levels of this really quickly, but as a person who worked for a team who had defer payments and then had to figure out what did you allow them to win the World Series, that kicks your butt down the road. As we all know, it's like having a credit card debt or whatever else, right? Not ideal. Great if you're a player, you still get to get paid throughout the whatever, but we can talk about the deals in baseball right now are insane. Soto's deal for $735, $735 million for the Mets.
For the Mets, that's a record deal.
It's insane.
For 15 years, which is nuts. I think he'll be 41 when the deal's up. I'm sure there's a few opt-out clauses throughout the process, but if he actually goes through all 15 years, he'll be 41 when
it's only finishes. $49 million a year. It's such a deal.
It's pretty good. And for someone like at least Ohtani, you've got him playing in the field and then potentially going to pitch maybe at some point moving forward. Soto, you've basically just got an outfielder or a DH for 15 years.
Yeah, it's incredible. Just
so
huge
kids
money.
Go practice baseball.
Go practice your baseball. It's probably the easiest sport on your body for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, none of them are easy, but easier than football, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I want to wrap us, and we're only going to wrap talking about this in May, but since we're kind of in the fall, we just came off the fall, I don't think it's quite as doesn't feel quite as distant. I want to talk about the Kentucky Derby.
Mm-hmm.
We all love the Kentucky Derby, big hats. We would drink mint and juleps. Last year we had a 3-way photo finish, but there's a big name coming back to the Kentucky Derby that we all need to watch for.
There is Bob Baffert, obviously one of the more high-profile horse trainers in the world, with his beautiful hair and transition blue glasses.
His blue glasses. I was going to say that everyone will know him from his blue glasses.
Yeah, so he's got a memorable look. He was on suspension for a few years for doping horses, and now he is eligible to return to Churchill Downs. So that'll be a major storyline coming into the race.
Yeah. I was reading when we were talking about this that he just raced in November. He raced a horse named, oh gosh, I just lost it, Barnes, I think, which was named after his longtime assistant. So there's that. But Kentucky Derby, definitely a bucket list item. Do it at least once if you get a chance to do it. Plan for all weather. plan for traffic, all the other things. It's an obscene amount of people who are really, really drunk by the time the actual Kentucky Derby race happens. So, pace yourself, take your Z-Biotic, digest your alcohol, go have fun. So that's kind of what we have for 2025, things on the highlight. Is there anything else really quickly that you want to dive into that I've missed?
I think we're off to a good start with those. A lot of those events, a lot of conversation starts around them, and we will cover them more as they get closer.
Absolutely. We will obviously keep you posted on these big major events in sports and everything else in the middle. Of course, the chance to follow us on your favorite listening platform, where we will see you every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And thanks, Scott, for being here. Happy New Year, everyone.
Go 2025.